Helljumpers, Chapter 16, Delta Halo, Section 2. Scootaloo got thrown out of the portal and skidded to a stop. Behind her, another portal opened up, kicking out the Elite. Checking if she still had any weapons, she found that she only had her knife and pulled it. The Elite quickly grabbed a plasma rifle that laid onto the ground near a pool of blood and pointed it at Scootaloo. Tensing up, the Pegasus got ready to get in close if the Elite opened up, but instead of firing, the Elite started studying the blood that stained the rifle, and Scootaloo was curious as to why they weren't even fighting, and also looked at the blood. It was blue, indicating that it belonged to an Elite. The silver-armored Elite lowered the plasma rifle, prompting Scootaloo to sheath the combat knife. "The parasite would have its reasons to send you with me instead of with a demon," it said. "You won't survive without support from your ship. If you choose to support me, then I'll make sure none of my brothers will fire upon you." Scootaloo eyed the Elite suspiciously through the visor of her helmet, but knew that without the support from fellow Marines or in the amber-clad, she wouldn't really last long.
"Well, you don't really leave me much with a choice,"
she said, standing up on her hind legs and taking off her helmet.
"Swear it, and you'll have my support until I can get back to the USNC forces."
"On the blood of my ancestors," he replied. "What may I call you, little one?" Scootaloo relaxed a bit since she knew that elites valued their honor, so this one wouldn't attack her.
"Scootaloo Hurricane. I'm a Pegasus."
The Elite nodded. "My title might not mean much anymore, but you may call me Arbiter." The Arbiter turned to the chasm in front of them and started moving. "Stay close to me," he told Scootaloo. Not that far into the chasm, they found the body of a fellow Elite that had an energy sword lying next to it. The Arbiter picked it up and knelt down next to the corpse, saying a few words in Sangheli and removing something from the arm of the dead warrior. "Hold out your left foreleg," the Arbiter ordered, and Scootaloo hesitantly held it out since her left leg was the only one that she used to hold the knife. The Arbiter attached a flat module onto the armored lower leg and activated it. A small energy dagger, the like she had seen on Reach, shot out. "It will only last for a few strikes, and reach over time. Use it wisely, and it might save your life once," the Arbiter said, standing back up and moving further down the chasm. Scootaloo was shocked that the Elite would give her a weapon like that. She heard the scream of a brute get her attention, and she rushed forward to help the Arbiter, only to find that he had already cut them down. The Arbiter let out an angry scream and rushed even further ahead, leaving Scootaloo to catch up again. Finding a group of 4 brutes, he went around slashing the large ape-like aliens, and Scootaloo picked up a plasma rifle and started shooting one of the brutes, killing it at the same time the Arbiter finished off the last of the 3 he had engaged. Nodding to the pony, the Arbiter moved up to a ridge where another Elite came from a structure. "By the prophets, what have these brutes done?" he said as he saw the carnage the brutes had caused. He knelt down next to a corpse that lay on the edge. "They have shed our brother's blood, and for that, they must die." He then spotted Scootaloo, who only got up onto the ridge. "What is the meaning of this, Arbiter?" "She fights on our side, brother," he reassured the other Elite. A wave of drop pods came down, revealing another squad of Elites. The Arbiter by that point probably marked Scootaloo as friendly because when the reinforcements came up to meet them, they only looked at her like she didn't belong, but they just said nothing. Moving up through the underground, they cut down any brute that got in their way with a viciousness that scared the pony. The further they got, the angrier the Elites got, as they found more bodies of their fellow warriors. Eventually, they found their way outside again and boarded a few ghosts, and after clearing the brutes that were guarding them, not being able to pilot one of the Covenant vehicles, Scootaloo took into the air, flying alongside the machines as the Elites piloted them down the chasm. After clearing a few checkpoints set up by the brute forces, they found themselves coming up on a central structure, perched onto the side of the chasm's walls. A wraith appeared from a little further up and attacked the squad of Elites plus Pony, Scootaloo having held back from the majority of the time since she wasn't sure that she wouldn't be shot in the back. Finally, she decided to throw herself into the mix. Charging the tank, she latched herself onto the access hatch and started beating with all of her might, creating a small opening that allowed a grenade to be thrown in. Jumping off the tank, it made a few jerks around before the grenade exploded, killing the pilot. A few of the Elites that were also focusing onto the Wraith roared in approval of the kill. Moving up past the structure, they saw another Wraith charging with its main cannon. Quickly, they ran into a passage to get out of its line of fire. They dispatched 2 more brutes, and they eventually found a stockpile of weapons, including human ones too. Scootaloo quickly ditched the plasma rifle in favor of a shotgun, and in the corner of her eyes, she saw a large 2-tubed rocket launcher.
Oh, jackpot.
She said, clumsily dragging it along with her. Moving out of the building again, the elites took down 2 jackals that were waiting outside of the door. Scootaloo shouldered her SPNKR and fired the 2 rockets in quick succession at the Wraith, making it blow up spectacularly. Moving down the structure further, they killed another group of brutes, and this time with the help of the Pegasus, who happily helped the elites take them down. Leaving the squad of elites, the Arbiter and Scootaloo went into a cave, running into a brute on a ghost, but due to a quick plasma grenade from the Arbiter, it didn't even get a shot off at the pair. Walking out of a large door into a wider field outside, they saw another Wraith approaching, but instead of charging its main cannon, it slowly floated up to the 2 and powered down. Out came an elite with white armor that was missing 2 jaw mandibles.
By the rings! Arbiter, the counselors, are they murdered?
By the brutes, the Arbiter responded, enraging the white-clad elite.
Vile, insolent beasts. The prophets were fools to even trust them,
he shouted, 2 phantom dropships flying overhead to a large nearby structure.
What is that place?
Scootaloo asked the elite.
Where the counselors were meant to watch the consecration of the icon, the start of the great journey,
he answered, his tone hardened a slight bit. The Arbiter stood still for a moment, letting a few thoughts run through his mind.
I must get inside,
he finally said.
Then mount up, Arbiter. I know a way to break through those doors,
he said, closing the hatch onto the Wraith and reactivating it. Using the tank to annihilate brute forces, they made their way to a docked Scarab.
There, Arbiter. That Scarab's main gun will break the control room's door. At the far end of the beach, there's a passage into the cliff. I'll take you up to the Scarab,
the elite told the Arbiter and Scootaloo, and the group easily cleared the outside of enemy fighters due to the support from the Wraith.
The brutes control the cruiser, Arbiter. I'll remain here, make sure no reinforcements get in behind you. Then, I'm going to take the cruiser back,
the elite said, as the unusual pair walked towards the passage into the cliff. Inside the building, they found 2 hunters and another elite.
The Arbiter. I thought he was dead. Hold your fire. The hunters have come to our aid, Arbiter. They will stand by our side,
the elite said as he saw the Arbiter. Scootaloo walked past the 3 aliens, confident that they wouldn't shoot her by this point.
We need all the help that we can get. I take it that the brutes have fortified the hallways.
The elite looked funnily at the little Pegasus in ODST armor.
Have the humans taken our side in this conflict?
He asked, confused.
It's complicated,
the Arbiter answered.
Hunters, take point.
The hunters brought up their shields and moved through the structure. The few hardpoints the brutes had set up quickly fell as they couldn't pierce the thick armor of the hunters from the front, while the hunters' plasma cannons burnt through everything that they shot at. Eventually, the group came up to a bridge that was fortified by a group of jackals, killing them quickly and entering the building onto the other side. The Arbiter cloaked himself as he walked into the main chamber, where a group of brutes were holding 2 elites and 2 other hunters captive. Instead of assassinating one of the brutes, the Arbiter chose to destroy the filed projectors that were keeping the hunters and Sangheli captive, quickly gaining the upper hand with their help. Moving on to the final door to the Scarab, the hunters took point again and formed a shield wall. Onto the platform there were 3 human soldiers being held captive, and one of which Scootaloo recognized as Sergeant Johnson.
Wait, Sergeant!
Scootaloo shouted, charging the brutes holding the 3 soldiers, distracting the brutes long enough for the soldier to break free, and started fighting them. Johnson shouted at the other Marines as he ran towards the Scarab. A quick firefight later, and all the brutes were down.
Wait, hold your fire, hold your fire!
Scootaloo shouted at the 2 Marines as they turned their attention to the elites and hunters, and the Arbiter doing the same on his side. The Scarab then stood up and pointed its main cannon at the Arbiter.
Listen, you don't like me, and I sure as hell don't like you, Johnson said over the speakers. But if we don't do something, Mr. Mohawk's gonna activate this ring, and we're all gonna die. Tartarus has locked himself inside the control room, the Arbiter answered the sergeant. Well, I just happen to have a key. Come on, grab a Banshee and give me some cover. He's gonna know we're coming, the sergeant said as he started moving the walker towards the control room, and the Arbiter grabbed a Banshee and gave air support to the Scarab.
Scootaloo sat onto the scarab as her wing muscles were on the verge of exhaustion, taking a short flight towards several gun emplacements to take them out so the Arbiter could focus on other banshees. The scarab eventually reached the end of the chasm and stopped to take a firing position. "Stay clear of the doors!" the sergeant shouted over the comms at the Arbiter. "Hey bastards! Knock knock!" he added as he fired the main cannon at the door, melting through it. Scootaloo took flight and landed in front of the door as the Arbiter set down his Banshee as well.
I've got your back.
Scootaloo told the Saiyan heli as she flicked her wrist with the energy dagger twice, activating it and deactivating it. The Arbiter nodded and headed inside, and they stealthily snuck under the brutes and burst up behind them, stabbing them with energy blades and sticking plasma grenades to their bodies. Having cleared the room, they could hear that Johnson was trying to park the scarab close to the door, knowing that he would soon join them, and the two made their way to the central chamber, where they finally encountered the brute chieftain.